If you're thinking about buying a condo in Florida, you have probably heard that the Homeowner Association, or HOA, plays a big role in your ownership experience. I'm Kinley Braxton with Seashore Realty, LLC. Today, I'm with Mark Karen, Condo Association Manager at Emerald Isle in Panama City Beach, Florida. We are here to answer a few questions that you may have about a condo. Hey Mark, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Kinley. Thank you for asking me to be here.
Of course, we'd love to have you. Could you tell us what a condo HOA fee typically covers?
A condo HOA fee, first of all, is derived from the condominium documents. In the state of Florida, most documents have your assessments cover all of your utilities and other costs associated with living in a condominium environment. The one thing that most condominiums share in the state of Florida is we don't cover your electricity costs. And so that is something that you bear as an owner.
How is a condo complex insured, and what additional insurance will a buyer need to carry?
Great question. Think of your condominium unit, wherever it's at in the state of Florida, is a big box of air. And surrounding your big box of air is the common area. The common area is controlled by the association, which really is you and all the rest of the members of the association. You need to purchase insurance from the primer, let's call it the paint, from the paint inside of your box of air that you've just purchased on this lovely beach behind me. The association is responsible for damages occurred on your sheetrock to the concrete walls, because this is a concrete and steel building. From the sheetrock into the concrete is what the association is responsible for. You're responsible for the contents, you're responsible for the flooring, you're responsible for everything inside your box of air.
Mark, could you tell us how often HOA fees increase and what typically drives those increases?
HOA fees increase for a number of reasons. In the state of Florida, over the past 3 years, it's been legislative-driven increases, and it's all due to the condominium or condominiums down in South Florida that are aging, that are 40 and 50 years old, that have done no preventive maintenance work during that period of time. And in fact, we had one fall over about 4 or 5 years ago that has driven these new laws that are here to protect your investment as a buyer in a beachfront condominium. That being said, these new laws are driving one main thing, and that is to have your investment in the condominiums produce savings, forced savings. Many associations over the years have not put money away for major repairs like painting your building. Now it's law. So associations like ours here at Emerald Isle Beachfront Resort, which always have funded what they're called reserves. I call it a savings account. We've always fully funded our reserves here for the past 16 years. So it's nothing different for us, but for a majority of condos in the state of Florida, it's a new thing which has driven assessments up. The second and the most unpredictable increase in insurance costs, the major driver is what's right behind me, and that is the Gulf of Mexico. When a hurricane comes into the Gulf of Mexico and hits the state of Florida, and there are billions of dollars of damages done, insurance companies need to recoup their money. And the way they do that is increase our insurance rates. So each year, our insurance renews. It's only good for a year, and will either go up or go down based off of hurricanes during the previous year. Panama City Beach is unique in our geographical location. You have to be a major league pitcher in order to throw a curveball well enough for a hurricane coming off the Atlantic Ocean to curve into Panama City Beach, where we are located geographically. What we're looking for is the fastball coming out of southern Costa Rica, northern Panama, down in the very southwestern part of the Caribbean. And those typically come into our area in October.
Can you tell us how a buyer can determine if the HOA they are considering is financially healthy?
There are many ways. The first thing is to talk to a general manager like me, or have your realtor talk to the general manager before you come onto property. And the first question the realtor should ask the general manager is, what do your accounts receivables look like? And to many people, they're not used to the term AR. And it's an accounts receivables report that I stay on top of on a weekly basis. The accounts receivables are just showing your board of directors if the association membership is paying the quarterly or monthly assessments to the association. Those assessments go into your general operating account that allows me to operate, staff, repair your building and your common area throughout each year.
Are there any other questions that the realtor should be asking the general manager?
Really one important one really easy one, and that is under the new laws just recently signed into law by the Florida State Legislature, is that all associations now have to have a website, and on that website everything has to be posted, complete transparency. And so it's my job as the general manager to make sure that everything is current and posted on that website. The selling owner of a unit at Emerald Isle is allowed to give the website information, including the password, to our website, where all of our financials are posted on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. You see invoices, you can read board meeting minutes, you can listen to board meeting minutes. So that's another area to find out whether or not an association is financially viable.
And that's a good tool and good transparency.
It's great. It's a great tool for not only the realtor to know our property when he or she comes onto the property, but it's an excellent tool for the prospective buyer to be able to go back to wherever they're staying and actually sign on to Emerald Isle's website without having somebody look over their shoulder, and start taking a look at, well, what's Emerald Isle been up to recently, and how are they doing? How's Mark managing the property? And is he under budget year to date? Questions like those that they can sit and talk and take a look at and see whether or not this is an association where, why is he $100,000 over budget and it's only September 3rd?
That's true.
That's very true.
Yep. What is a SIRS report, and why is it important to review when considering buying?
A SIRS report is a structural integrity report done by a structural engineer that's licensed in the state of Florida. This again is a new law in the state of Florida that came about 2 years ago by the state legislature This was due again to the condominium that suffered a fallover for lack of preventive maintenance work over the decades. A CSRS report is required, sometimes called a milestone report in the state of Florida. The main milestone date is the year of the building. How old is the building? And at 30 years, you're required to do a CSRS report with the structural engineer. But they also put into the legislation that the state of Florida would also like to see a CSRS report, not quite to the extent that they would like to see at 30 years, but they'd like to see a CSRS report at 20 years also. And we're very proactive at Emerald Isle. We do a ton of preventive maintenance work. We do what is called a reserve study. And all a CSRS report is first of all to let you know structurally, are we sound by a structural engineer licensed in the state of Florida. A reserve study is your savings account. And it is required, a reserve study is required to be done no less than every 3 years in the state of Florida. And that's to make sure that we are saving enough money for major expenses like painting the building. The CSRS report takes a look at the structural aspects of this. And what I do and what our board of directors does is we combine both reports together. The CSRS report tells us things that we can't see, that the structural engineer can see. And it will give us an idea of future damage control that we should address now. It also gives us an idea of costs that we should start projecting for 5 to 10 years out. And again, those are projections, but we do the best we can. We get 3 bids and we bring the structural engineer in, and we actually hire the structural engineer to not only do the CSRS report, but also to update our reserve study every year at Emerald Isle.
That is good that y'all are staying on top of that and being proactive about it.
Well, that also drives a previous question you asked me. What drives our assessments? Well, what drives our assessments, we know on a yearly basis, because of cost increases, we know 5 or 10 years out that costs may be increasing or have increased over the past 12 months since our last reserve study was done. And so that again will drive assessments. And we want to give the most accurate information possible to our owners.
Mark, so I know there would be a lot of potential buyers wondering when a milestone inspection is required in Florida. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we hit that. We hit a lot of that on the last question. Again, the milestone report that everyone asks about is the 30-year milestone report. But I want everyone out there to know that at 20 years, the legislature in the state of Florida has snuck in a little thing that said, you know, we'd sure like to see what you look like after 20 years also. And so we went ahead and did a full milestone report at 20 years last year. And that's what the word or the term milestone stands for. Most of the condominiums in the state of Florida are located from Orlando south to Miami. Most of the condos in Miami and running up the Atlantic Ocean have been built and standing for well over 30 years. And a lot of them have not had preventive maintenance work done on a regular basis, and many of them have experienced huge storms over the decades and repair work done that has eroded possibly the foundations, has created concrete issues. We need to know about that as a management team. You need to know about that as a potential buyer. What's happening with this building? If you're going to put $500,000 into a condominium on the beach, you don't want to be looking at a $50,000 special assessment next year because the foundation is eroding.
Mark, what is the impact of lawsuits and major repairs for a buyer who needs financing for a condo?
It's really up to the underwriter. If you are financing a condominium in the state of Florida, it's really up to the underwriter who is the underwriter of the lending company and what the particulars are in the lawsuit and what the repairs are. Typically, and I'd like to say this 99.9% of the time, if the board of directors have met officially in a properly posted board of directors meeting in the state of Florida and have addressed either in discussion or in a voting process a special assessment, the selling owner typically will be responsible for paying that special assessment. That's typical. I'm not involved with the selling process. What I see sometimes is negotiations being involved. I know that our board, if we were ever to have a special assessment, would not require a $50,000 check to be written to Emerald Isle. We would do some type of internal financing where it would be paid to the association over a period of months or years. As far as lawsuits go, we have insurance for that. And we also carry, and most condominium associations, especially beachfront condominium associations in the state of Florida, carry very, very large umbrellas, insurance umbrellas, just in case somebody gets hurt on property and they decide to sue the association. We're protected. And we're protecting your investment here at Emerald Isle.
How does the board communicate with owners, and how transparent is the decision making?
Again, new laws in the state of Florida. As I originally stated, I've been blessed to be the general manager here at Emerald Isle for almost 17 years now, and every board that I have served has been a transparent board that leaves their ego at the door before they come into a board meeting and are making decisions based on what's best for the entire community. So lack of transparency has never been an issue at Emerald Isle. I know that it is an issue throughout the entire United States. Board members like to get together without anybody listening and make decisions on their own before they have to sit down in an official board meeting. That is not done, to my knowledge, here in Panama City Beach. It definitely is not done here at Emerald Isle. We communicate, first of all, we have to post 48 hours in advance. We post an agenda, and we also allow all owners, whether you're on property or off property, to first of all either attend the board meeting or secondly, Zoom in. And I am required by law to not only provide the Zoom call information to all owners, but I'm also required by law to record the entire Board of Directors meeting, which again is posted to our website, which again potential buyers have access to.
That's wonderful.
They're owners too. Mm-hmm. And so when they're making decisions at Emerald Isle, and I can only use Emerald Isle as a realistic example, they're owners here too. One of our owners has several condominiums. In fact, I have several board members that have several condominiums here at Emerald Isle. And so they know the decisions that they are making is not only affecting 198 other owners at Emerald Isle, but also affecting them and their investments.
Yes, it would.
Yes. So transparency, what used to be something that wasn't enforced in the state of Florida now is enforced strict.
Mark, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing a little bit of insight on buying a condo here in Florida.
You're very welcome, Kinley, and I wish you the best success possible, and bring potential buyers to Emerald Isle. I'll be more than willing to sit down and talk with them.
I will try. Thank you so much. I'm Kinley Braxton with Seashore Realty, LLC.